Jazz musician Terri Lyne Carrington, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, after 7 Grammy nominations, does it really faze you at all?
I didn't know there were 7. I haven't really counted. We count the ones we win more than the ones we don't, I think. But of course it phases me because it's such a huge music community, and for them to acknowledge me in any way is just a thrill. So it's not so important. I mean, we all say we don't care if we win or not. Of course you care a little bit, but I think just being in the room, as they say, just being at the table and being acknowledged is really what touches me.
You know, we've been having discussions about how much weight a Grammy Award carries in this day and age, but given all the controversy surrounding not just the Grammys, but award shows. But it's refreshing to hear your perspective on that as someone who has been nominated and won several times.
Yeah, I think, you know, for me, when people ask me what the difference is, the biggest difference since I started, you know, getting nominated and winning a few, I think there's a different level of respect. I mean, I used to think, okay, the first one, you know, that could have been luck. The second one, you know, that could have been really good luck. The third one, okay, wait a minute, maybe we're onto something. Maybe I'm consistent, you know, and then, or it's a fluke, you know. I said, well, I don't think I'm a fluke. So maybe this is encouraging me to keep doing the work. And that's what I think artists have to do. You know, when things are going on in the world, we really just put our heads down and do the work. So to be recognized is incentive to keep doing it.
And I want to dig deeper into that. But just one more question here about the Grammys, because this year they've diversified the voting community, added 3,800 new voters in an effort to be more representative of the music community. Does that change anything for you to be going into this award show knowing that there are fresh faces there?
Well, I think this has been going on now for at least 10 years, you know, a consciousness of making sure there's more representation and diversity in the voting pool. So I'm very happy that that's really coming to light in that way. And hip hop is an important art form, of course, you know, in America, and it didn't have enough recognition over the years. So I think they've put a lot of effort in that direction, which is great. And jazz has always been a bit of a stepchild, no matter where we go. But hip hop actually is 33% of what's consumed in this country, and jazz is 1%. So it's a lot harder to get voters and people in the jazz community because they don't feel like they really have a chance of being recognized. And, you know, when I try to talk to people about the Academy, I say, you know, one thing, my fees went up once I started getting nominated.
Okay, yesterday's price is not today's price.
So that's one incentive, you know, but you have to join to be able to vote. And then, you know, you can start voting for, you know, more creative and experimental artists if that's, you know, what you're into. And it doesn't have to be necessarily status quo or the usual suspects. So that's how I encourage people to join.
Now, this album that is up for nomination here is up for an award here is We Insist, and it's a protest album, but it fuses these West African roots with modern day spoken word and rhythmic creation, and it is just so stirring.
Thank you.
And we're in a moment where we need some music like this. Like, listening to it, I kind of just felt like, wow, this is so cathartic, because it's like all of the rage and anger that you kind of have to keep down. This is a place for it. Did it feel that way for you?
Well, having listened to the original We Insist record that was recorded in 1960, that was a very strong protest album. And unfortunately, some of the themes that they were protesting are still relevant today. And I wanted to celebrate Max Roach's centennial, which is why I thought about covering this album. And the more I dug into it, I realized, and, you know, there's other protest themes we can include. And I don't want to approach it the same way they did in the 60s because, you know, it's a different time. And also some of the other issues, you know, women face weren't necessarily being addressed back then. So how do we not just, spin some of the narrative with spoken word like we did on this record, but how do we also flip some of the sound of the music to sound maybe like women are at the center of protesting in this particular project. And so Christy Dashiell and myself co-led this album, and we both did some arrangements, and I asked some other people, former students and people that I got signed to Candid Records to also do some arrangements and contribute. So it's a community spirit behind the record too. And everybody has different things to say and different outlooks on what's happening. So most of the people are younger than me. So, and I know from some of my friends that are civil rights activists, I know that it's young people that really spearhead these kinds of protests. So I wanted to make sure I was surrounded by young people.
And this is sort of symbolic because we know that women are overlooked in jazz often, especially as percussionists, as you are, or as with you being a percussionist. And of course, you are spearheading the Jazz and Gender Institute at Berkeley. And you have this song called Boom Chick, and it's like prime spoken word, right? Where y'all are not only paying homage to the We Insist album of the 60s, but just talking about this female power. Do you consider yourself a boom chick in so many ways?
No, I mean, actually my reference to boom chick was really just the drums, boom being the bass drum and chick being the hi-hat. And it's a rhythmic reference to Max Roach, boom chick, and he was solo over that with his feet doing that pattern. But the way you just phrased it, that's pretty hip.
That's how I was like,
I like that.
Terri Lyne Carrington is a boom chick, okay? Who are some other boom chicks, so to speak, in jazz today that you would point people to?
Oh, goodness. Lots of, up-and-comers. Savannah Harris, a really fine drummer. She's working with Christian McBride and other people. Ronnie Caspi, she's drumming and singing and doing her thing. Nikki Glaspie, she's a little bit younger than me. I love what she does. She played with Beyonce. Let's see. Goodness. Of course, when you put me on the spot. But
these are all great. This is great. And I'm glad you mentioned Nikki's work with Beyonce, because when I was getting ready for this, all I kept thinking was, what if, everybody's been speculating about what Beyonce's Act 3 is going to be between Renaissance, Cowboy Carter, and is the third one going to be rock? But I'm like, what if it's jazz?
We've all been hoping that that's what it is, but we'll see. I mean, that would be a bold move. And, I don't know I'm not sure she'll go that direction, only because if it's a reclamation, I'm not sure that we're reclaiming that in a way that, like, she did with country. And so she might go the rock route and to say, that's kind of foundationally from the blues as well. So much of the popular music has come from, the blues, which is an African-American form. So I love what she's doing. And so we'll see. But I do like the fact that, she did the all-female band, because it really did bring awareness to the fact that there are some great women playing these instruments. And I think more people started doing it. It wasn't really like just something to, like, it wasn't show business. I can't think of the right word, but it was serious musicians. And other people are, kind of jumping on that bandwagon still since Beyonce did it. And in jazz, I think we're doing it a little slower than popular art forms have.
Yeah.
But it's coming, and that's why I'm doing the work that I'm doing with gender justice.
Excellent. And this started for you so young. We have a lot of footage of you here at GBH and programs that you did in the area where you would go on with your father, Sonny Carrington, and talk about the music that you all were making together. And I also heard from one of our producers that apparently he wanted a son so that the son could follow in his musical footsteps, but was even happier when he had a daughter that did that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he just wanted a third generation, musician. And I'm glad that he encouraged me once I took an interest. I know that every young person doesn't get that, especially with the drums, because they're loud and often people are not really trying to hear all that. But my grandfather was a drummer, and my father played drums and saxophone, so it was kind of in the family.
That's awesome. I know you mentioned that jazz is only 1% of the music consumed today. And so it makes me wonder how many young people are getting access to jazz at an early age, and what that means for the future of the genre.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we all have to think about the future of the genre, and I think, we have to be concerned with the entire ecosystem of it, so from patrons to venues and presenters to labels. All of it has to work together to keep a genre sustained, basically. I always say to not just survive, but to thrive. And, I've been thinking a lot about that. I have a radio show on Sirius XM called Future Flavors, which comes on Fridays and Sundays. And I'm focused on this kind of hybrid sound that jazz does with other genres, like R&B and hip hop and indie rock and whatever. So that's those are some of the ways I contribute to thinking about what's next and how do we reach people where they're at and bring them into the music. It's such a rich art form, but it's not something that should be in a museum. So.
It's something that one might argue is best consumed live, right? I remember my intro to jazz was seeing Les McCain at North Carolina A&T, which I always call my home HBCU. But my family took the initiative not only to take me there, but there was a place where we could go hear it. And we're not seeing as much of that these days.
Yeah. You just touched my heart mentioning Les McCann, because I've known him since I was 10, I think, the first time I played with him.
Oh, wow.
And then he was on a record of mine a few records ago. So thanks for bringing him up.
Of course.
But yeah, you're right. It's that's why we have to look at the entire ecosystem. We have to look at the venues and how to support them better. We have to buy records maybe opposed to stream them, or do both. And we have to look at gender too, because there's been so many people that haven't been able to express themselves in this art form because they didn't have the support or had extra barriers that their male counterparts or colleagues didn't have. And I'm thinking about what kind of sound has not been embedded in this art form because of that. Because if a woman is successful playing jazz, it's because she plays as good as the next guy. And that's the standard that has been established by men of what this music is supposed to sound like. And I keep thinking the feminine aesthetic, being a little more prevalent in the music will help to create a different sound. And I think we have to embrace all those kinds of possibilities for the art form to thrive.
Well, here's to hearing a lot more of those future flavors. Terri Lyne Carrington, this has been so wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe below and click the playlist button for more Rooted videos. And a big thank you to our sponsor, Brightbound, for supporting this conversation. Brightbound is reimagining career readiness, helping middle and high school students explore their passions, try out career paths, and make confident decisions about their future.